So officially welcome. My name is Tarin. I'm trying to be moderating today's webinar. We are representing an organization called ISAL, Indian Students Association Leuven. We try to see two things. We try to feel Indians who live here in Leuven feel home, and also trying to give some flavor of India to people who are non-Indians here of what India has to offer. These are the two big goals of our association, and this is the first of the webinars that we are organizing to make people who come from India on board here, and we call it onboarding session. We have two of these. This is one of them. Here today we'll focus mainly on the pre-arrival, so what you need to do before you arrive. And tentatively on August 3rd, we have another session, which is post-arrival, so what you could do after you arrive here. For this pre-arrival session, we have two speakers. Aaron, who's very near to me. Hi. Yeah, so Aaron, he came last year, so he's a perfect person to ask some questions on the visa procedures or what you need to bring here. He's doing his master's in electrical engineering here. Came last year, but there is also Sudha, who will also pitch in her experience here. She came also last year to do a bachelor's here. So she's doing bachelor's in engineering technology. So both of them can guide you through what you need to bring here. Most of the time, Aaron will be going through the slides, but Sudha will pitch in with her experience. Me, I am doing a PhD here. I have been in Europe for around 12 years now, spent some time in Italy, some time in Portugal, and I came to do my PhD here 2 years before from Portugal. So I am not that expert in applying visa procedures because I did not come directly from India, but we are in safe hands. There is Aaron and Sudha, but there is also experienced people like Shreya is here who came here, did studies here, now currently working here. So there are also others experts here who can support during the webinar, during the question and answer sessions that you have now. Now I hand over the mic to Aaron to start the session, and please interrupt us as we speak. If you have some questions, you can send in a chat, and we'll try to address that. But there is also a dedicated question and answer session after the slides, after the slide shows that we have. Aaron, take over.
All right, everybody. So, namaskara, namaste, goedemiddag, and welcome to our pre-arrival webinar for new students who are coming to Belgium. Okay, so this is going to be a guide for everything you need to know about packing, traveling, and going from India to Belgium, and the first few steps you need to follow once you're here in Belgium to set up your new life. All right. So broadly, I'll be covering these topics, visa queries, only some questions about the Schengen visa once you arrive in Belgium and how that works. Some housing queries, again, it's going to be quite subjective in that case. So I'll be showing you some simple things to look out for. A quick document completion checklist. So what documents you'll probably need to bring from India. A packing checklist and some personal suggestions, which we've all thrown in together, and we've kind of compiled a little list. So that will be also covered. Some special items to consider while packing, which are Belgium specific. So things that you may not get here, things that are cheaper back home, how to prep for the weather here, things like that. Bank accounts and GSM plans. So how do you set up your bank account once you're here in Belgium? Your GSM is essentially your cell phone, your mobile plans, and which ones to choose, what are your options, things like that. Flight information and suggestions. So which flights go where, which airlines take you where, what is the general procedure once you land in Europe, and how to get from wherever you are in Europe to Leuven, which is also our landing in the EU, and a quick settling in guide. All right. Quick disclaimer, as per EU data privacy laws, by attending the session, you are consenting to the session being recorded. Timelines that we are going to provide here will be subjective. They depend on the city office, your specific case, your faculty. There are a lot of variables here. So we'll try and give you a bit of an overview, but no answers are particularly definitive except for how the steps work. Choice of items, again, is subjective. You may think that some item is cheap, someone else may think that's expensive. So we'll give you a bunch of options and some suggestions based on personal experience. And I genuinely encourage that you ask questions at every step of the enrollment, registration, procedure, whatever step it may be. Once you're here in Belgium, most people who you'll be dealing with for any form of registration or documents that they're going to give you will always explain everything, and then they'll ask you if you have any questions. So if we're not able to answer it and you come here and you have more questions, feel free to ask whoever is helping you there at the desk. They will definitely be able to help you. All right, so that's the first bit. Now let's get into it. So visa procedure, the Schengen area and permanent residency. So the Schengen area basically allows you to travel across Europe, and your Schengen visa allows you to do that. Most recently, countries that have joined the Schengen area are Romania and Bulgaria. Kind of important to know, maybe you want to do a vacation there. Maybe you want to join some of your friends, your friends want to go there. You can keep this in mind. Not all countries all across the European continent are a part of the EU or the Schengen area, which you can probably look up and you'll be able to know which is which. Okay, your steps to permanent residency. So from the questionnaire that we had sent out, what I gather is that most of you have received your visas. Some of you have done the interview and are waiting for the visa. Some of you are have scheduled the interview, and some of you are yet to apply. So if you're yet to apply, the document checklist has been passed around already, and we also have the onboarding guide that you can refer to if you need more information about what specific documents you need, as well as what needs to be apostilled and things like that. But broadly, most of you have received your visas already. So what's the first few steps? Well, if you're able to complete your degree verification at home, great. If you're not, for whatever reason, say you don't want to use the paid service that is there, that's okay. If you feel, okay, I want to come to Leuven and then do the degree verification, that's also fine. So that will be your first step. You'll have to register at the university office. So you come to Leuven, you go to the registration desk here that is there at Namsestraat. You go there, they'll sign you up, they give you your little student card, and they'll give you 3 documents. These 3 documents are like an Annex 1, Annex 2. They basically show that you have registered for university, how much your tuition fee is, who it needs to be paid to, the beneficiary, all of that will be provided to you. So your first step is to do that. The next bit is if you're a KUL student, KU Leuven has a website where you have to register for your Annex 15. Now, Annex 15 is the document that states that, yes, you have come to Belgium, you have your visa, you've registered at university, and you're ready to get your permanent residency. But there's a few steps before that. So the Annex 15 confirms your residence, where you live, and probably your bank account as well. You can use the Annex 15 to create a bank account, which again, we'll come to for the bank account section. Yeah, so basically it's proof that you're here, you've registered at university, and now you can continue. You'll usually get an email saying you have to go to Stadskantoor or the city office to go and pick up your Annex 15. There's a picture of Stadskantoor here, just so you know where it is. It's right next to the railway station. Don't make the mistake I made. Me, who is incredibly smart, went to the historic monument that is the City Hall on Grootmarkt, went there and then asked, hi, can I have my Annex 15? That is a museum. This is the city office. It's right next to the railway station. Go there and you can pick up your Annex 15. So once you have your Annex 15, you take it home and you wait. That means that you've verified your address, and now they're going to give you 2 personalized codes. They're called a PIN code and a PUC code. These 2 codes will come in the mail. So you'll have to keep checking your mailbox from time to time. You get the codes, take your codes, go back to Stadskantoor, and you have to do appointments for all all the documentation will be explained to you via email or in the letter that you get. So you'll have to make an appointment, go to the city office, and then they'll take your picture, they'll do all your other processing, and they'll give you your residence card. All right. Now, these codes should not be shared with anybody because they're personal, they're private. Okay. So you'll have to hold on to these codes. But the good thing about the Belgian residence card is that it's actually pretty cool. It also replaces your visa. So if you're traveling within Europe, you don't necessarily need your passport. If you're traveling to neighboring countries, especially, I've gone to Germany, the Netherlands, and France. And when I have, you don't really need your passport. It is advised that you carry your passport with you. More often than not, your residence card is fine. However, if you're flying to different parts of Europe, in that case, you will need your passport and your residence card. So the residence card essentially is going to replace your visa. It states that, yes, you have entered the Schengen area, you're living here legally, and you have your residence card and you have your passport. So ideally carry both. Some countries, it should be fine if you carry only one, but ideally carry both. The residence card in Belgium is actually quite high tech. You can use it to sign documents. You can use it for prescription storage. So when you go to the university GP, and if you have insurance and everything, you can give them your residence card and they will load your prescription onto it. It's amazing. You don't get a sheet of paper with chicken scrawl from the doctor. You know what your prescription is. You can take it to the pharmacy, give them your residence card, boom, you get your medicines. The other cool thing is that if you go to, say, a hotel and you're checking in at a hotel, you don't need to provide all your information. You give them your residence card, they put it in an e-card reader, and they can read your personal information, like where you live, your cell phone number, contact information, things like that. They have everything on it. Now, it is PIN protected. So when you are signing documents, you need to enter your PIN. So PIN codes and PUC codes from earlier, you have to keep them in mind. You can't forget them. Right. Housing, rental contracts, and post-arrival. Now, most places have a simple document that you have to follow. KUL shares a baseline document of what rental contracts look like. There is an English translation available on the website as well. But all your documentation will come to you in Dutch, and only the Dutch version is valid. You cannot sign an English version and turn it in. You will have to sign the Dutch version finally. English translations are available. You have to ask for them specifically. Now, say you want to leave early. Say you have a rental contract for a year, and you want to leave after 6 months, 1 semester. These are all subject to the clauses that are there in your rental contract. There aren't many general rules for protection. There are some general rules for protection as a tenant, but a lot of these are subject to what is in your rental contract. So read it carefully. Some university residence halls don't allow subletting. Some do. Some allow subletting only to other KUL students. Some don't. So please go through your rental contract in detail. All of these clauses are written. And if you don't quite understand it, ask your landlord. Ask your landlord or your residence hall manager. They will be able to help you. Deposits, in my experience, from what I've seen, most of the properties that are available on Kotvis are generally have like a high deposit, usually around the 800 to 1,200 euros kind of deposit. You will generally get it back provided you don't vandalize your house. KUL residence halls generally have a lower deposit amount. So if that's a consideration and you still haven't found housing, something to keep in mind. Utilities included, yes or no? This is something you will have to look again at the listing, your rental contract, go through it in detail. Utilities are essentially heating, internet, water, electricity. Sometimes internet is not included in utilities. Some residence halls, like I think Campus Arena, includes only heating, water, and electricity as utilities, and then tells you to pay for your own internet connection. You'll have to look this up based on your rental contract, and you'll have to go through that in detail. Keep that in mind. When you finally move in, You can take pictures. Please, I do encourage everybody to take pictures of your property. But the legally binding thing is the inventory and condition form. You'll be given a Excel sheet printout, which will have every item that is there in the house, including walls, taps, fittings, sockets, things like that. Everything will be mentioned. And there'll usually be a condition. So good, fair, damaged, whatever. This is what will protect your deposit. So when you come to your place, take pictures and fill in the inventory form very carefully. If you fill in the inventory form correctly, as per whatever damage or condition you see your property in, it protects your deposit. That means the landlord is responsible. He has handed this house to you in whatever condition he has. There is a police verification process for your address. So once you move in and once you submit your request for an Annex 15, your address has to be verified. This is done by the police, and they have 2 student police personnel who do this verification. If you are at a KUL residence hall, then it is generally done by the managers themselves. They submit a list to the police department, which has everybody who has joined new. If you're in a KUL residence hall, this is generally handled for you. Okay, the more important stuff, the document checklist. If your degree verification is complete online, that is either through your university or through the paid service called TrueCopy, if I remember correctly, then great. All you have to do is come here and get your student card and your annex to start registration. Otherwise, you have to bring your transcript, your degree certificate, or your provisional degree certificate, depending on which is available. Bring it to the admin office on Amsterdam and give it to the person. You'll have to do a little quick procedure, take a token, the usual stuff, and they will verify your degree on the spot and give you your student card immediately. There will be generally a lot of correspondence in the form of emails to you by KUL that tell you what documents to bring and what documents you need to present. Again, this is subject to how much of your registration you are able to complete from India and how much you need to do here. In my case, I was not able to do my degree verification from back home, so I brought my transcripts and my degree, and I came here to Belgium and presented it in person. Excellent. Generally carry a copy of your rental agreement. If you haven't already signed it, or if you have signed it also, just keep a copy with you. It's always useful, because if you're in a KUL residence hall, then you'll usually have something called house rules at the bottom, which is again important. How to generally keep your community spaces and things like that. Those are all generally outlined, always important. Generally keep a copy of your rental agreement as well. For your Annex 15, you need you would have already taken this picture. You need a Schengen visa compatible passport size photograph. That's at 3.5 by 2.5. The dimensions are already there. You've probably already done it. You need your acceptance letter as well. I don't really know if that's specific to the Annex 15, but carry your acceptance letter anyway. Copies of other important documents that you may need, that depends on your personal situation. What I did was to just cover all my bases. Whatever documents I turned in at the visa office, I brought all of those, except for a copy of the visa form and maybe a couple of copies of like my flight itinerary and things like that. I carried all the other important documents. That just covers all your bases. It's a nice, safe, easy bet. All right, now comes the fun bit, packing checklist and suggestions. So European plug points are different from the plug points that we have back home. Okay, you usually get a little adapter that you can just stick on the end of your plug point. Great, of your plugs, sorry, and you can just use that. Or if you can, then generally on Amazon and electrical stores will usually have like a cord extension, an electrical cord extension that you can usually plug in straight into your laptop adapter, and you can just use that, which is usually EU compatible. But if you can't, then plug adapters, all of these adapters, they're pretty cheap. You can buy them for like, I think 6 pieces or something is like 300 rupees. It's not very expensive. You can buy a couple of those adapters, bring those. If you think that, okay, I don't want to buy an adapter from home, you just want to buy one adapter, bring your own extension board. Problem solved. If you want to buy extension boards here, you can. They're pretty cheap. Medicines, however, are not cheap. So I would suggest that you bring medicines from home. I brought the whole gamut of medicines to cover all my bases. So generally, paracetamol, your Crocin, Dolo, Cinerest, antacids, not really necessary. Vitamin D is something to consider because during the winter months, we don't get much sunlight, and you probably may need vitamin D supplements. You can buy them here as well. They're a little more expensive. If you can bring them from home, great. This was mentioned in one of the earlier webinars from an earlier year. Calculators. EU students use the TI-82, which is a Texas Instruments calculator. We back home are probably used to using Casio, the ES Plus or EX, depending. Usually in engineering, you'd use one of these. So check your program requirements based on that, whether you need to buy one back home or you can buy one here. Just a consideration.
Can I pitch in?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mostly on the packing part of it, the previous slide. Yeah. The two advices from my experience, what I found is in the plug adapters, I prefer to bring European plug adapter instead of the universal one because that's all you need, and it is more robust. I found it. The universal one, okay, you can use it in any other countries if you go from here, but most of the time you will be in Europe. So a European plug adapter, I would prefer. I would buy that more than the universal one. It's more robust. And second, along with pressure cooker, I don't know about some parts of India eat a lot of rice. I would also suggest if you can bring a rice cooker, that will be also nice because that helps me a lot. When I brought a rice cooker, makes my life much simpler. Quick two suggestions from my side.
Yep. And you can buy rice cookers here. Again, they are quite expensive. So you have to keep that in mind. If you want to buy it, they're cheaper back home. Belgium specific weather. Here is like a quick clip I took the other day on the way home from work. This is generally what Belgian weather looks like. It's quite unpredictable. And throughout the first half of the year, which is September, or rather the first half of when you come here, September, October, November, December, it's quite windy and wet and a little cold. So it can be cloudy on one side, it'll be sunny on the other side. It's a little unpredictable. So what can you generally expect? September, when you land in Belgium, is actually quite comfortable. It's quite nice. It usually goes down to maybe, I think, 8 degrees, 10 degrees, and your max will be around 16, 17. So it's kind of pleasant. But October and November generally become quite wet. December becomes cold and windy because it's the start of winter. January and February, we usually have a little bit of snow. March and April, again, is unpredictable. You have rain every once in a while. It can become hot. It can become cold. Spring is a little bit unpredictable. And May to August, this time has been quite hot. What would you need in particular? Waterproof full-length jackets would definitely be a suggestion. Now, should you bring these from home? Should you buy them here? I would suggest buy one jacket from home and see if it works here. If that's fine, great. If not, there are places to buy jackets here. They are maybe, I think, 10 or 20% more expensive. But you can expect a lot of rain, especially if you're planning on biking. Then you have to be prepared for fairly unpredictable weather. Hoodies and sweaters, you'll generally be using these quite a bit for most of the year.
Also, along with the clothes, you can also get high boots because I personally found my shoes getting wet in cold when it snowed. So it's better if you get some boots as well. Or you can buy them here as well. There are some secondhand shops. You can look some options from there as well.
This will be a good time to pause and if you have some questions to ask.
Hi, Samia, you can go ahead.
And speaking on the weather, yes, it rains a lot here. It gets a bit dull soon. So, and one thing I thought also was that if you can bring the winter jackets, the thick ones that you can bring. That's also is Wi-Fi in Belgium bad? No, it is pretty good. So internet, what normally I do is there is Wi-Fi at the workplace or the university, and there is Wi-Fi in the accommodation that you are there. So all you need is internet while you commute from one place to another place. So apart from that, the internet is pretty good. The Wi-Fi is pretty good. And we are back.
I was.
All right. I hope I'm audible again. Umbrellas, again, you can buy them here, but if you can bring them from home, that's fine. Gloves are another suggestion. You'll have to consider weatherproof gloves as well. So if they can withstand a fair bit of rain and snow and things like that, that would be another option. Otherwise, woolen gloves are okay. Basically, pack for the weather. If you can deal with 12-degree or 10-degree weather with only one hoodie on, fine. If you need more jackets, carry them. If, say, 0 to -1, -2 kind of temperature, you prefer wearing thermals, bring them from home. Bring just like a basic set of weatherproof and weather-specific clothes. And then if you need more, buy more here in Belgium would be my suggestion. All right, bank accounts and cell phone plans. I personally use KBC. KBC is also the bank that is used by KUL. So you get your, if you've done the blocked account, then you get your blocked account money through KBC. It generally transfers very quickly. And if you're under 25, then KBC has something called a KBC Plus account, which is free if you're under 25. There is a form that you can fill out ahead of time. I think they mentioned to fill it out maybe 10 days before you come to Belgium. And that allows you to kickstart the process a little early. You'll get an interview, not only an interview, you'll get an appointment where you to come and show up here at the bank, sign some documents, and you get your debit card pretty quickly. Otherwise, BNP is the other bank that is there in Belgium. Or if you want to do like an online bank account, which doesn't have a physical bank that you have to go to, Revolut is an option. Revolut is essentially, it's completely online. It doesn't really have a physical bank. And I used this, I think, once when I was traveling to another part of Europe that didn't use the euro. So I needed to convert from euro to their currency. And I created a Revolut account on my phone pretty quickly. And you can just transfer money within that. It's a simple option. It's fairly easy, but some people have had some issues with it. I would personally suggest using KBC. And if you need to travel elsewhere within Europe that doesn't use the euro, there's only a handful of countries that don't use the euro, then consider a Revolut account. Cell phone plans, I personally use Orange. Orange is a fairly renowned provider. They're primarily based in France, but they have the medium plan or regular or something like that. It's basically the mid-price plan, which is 21 euros a month, and you get 50 GB of mobile data, unlimited calling within Belgium, and 31 GB of EU roaming data. I've found that this is pretty good for most of my travel outside Belgium, and it's been quite consistent here within Belgium as well. So I would suggest Orange. If that's out of your budget, they have a lower plan. There are also other cheaper options, like Mobile Vikings allows you to do it online from home. And eSIM, if you have a cell phone that is eSIM compatible, then definitely you can probably get those online now. You don't necessarily need to be physically present in a store to go and get those. You can go and get an eSIM in a store as well. But if you can do it from home, great. So if you have an eSIM compatible phone, keep that in mind. If you have an iPhone, you can set up Apple Pay as well. And if you have NFC also on your regular cell phone, you can set up contactless payment, because most payment portals here, say at the student restaurant Alma, or even outside when you're going to buy food, most places take contactless payment via card. So you can just tap your phone, payment complete.
I use Base. It's not in the thing. Base is also, I mean, it works for me. Base is also another SIM provider that has 12 euros plan of 6 GB per month. But you can, if you don't use 6 GB in that month, you can carry forward to the next month. So now I have, I don't know, 30 GB of internet, because you don't use 6 GB. So as I told you, internet Wi-Fi is too good that you just need it when you commute from one place to another place. That's one thing. There are some questions in the chat, and I thought not to go through everyone later, but maybe one thing that you can answer now is for someone who is on a monthly scholarship, through which bank can we expect to receive the money? So that is in relation with
your blocked account. Yeah. It will be sent to your bank account. So again, there is a form that KUL will give you to fill in, which where you type in your IBAN, which is your bank account number, and then they transfer your money monthly. Because I use the same thing as well. You just give them your bank account number, they'll transfer it first working day of the month. It may not necessarily come on first. So if the first of whatever month is a Saturday or a Sunday, you may not get your money that day. So it'll be the first working day of the month.
Another point to add for the banks, BNP Paribas Fortis also has a free scheme for like the premium account of KVC.
So yeah, Proximus is another service provider. Proximus actually provides all the infrastructure to most telecom. They do the telecom infrastructure in Belgium, but most other providers kind of use their network. They are a little more expensive from what I've heard. Again, you will have to find the plan that suits you the best. I think this is fine for me because I use a lot of data and I do go out quite a bit. So I prefer the orange plan. But if you don't use too much, find a plan that fits you well. These are generally the service providers that you can look for. The cheapest option in all of this is to just get a data only SIM, because I think most of your calling that you will do here is through WhatsApp. Very few situations will require you to make a regular phone call. I think those are mostly if you need to call the bank, if you have ordered a takeaway, if you have to do delivery, for example, then only then do they actually call you on your regular GSM network. Otherwise, if you're calling home, it will be on WhatsApp. So a data SIM, data only SIM allows you to keep your India number here with you in Belgium and continue using everything with your same India infrastructure, but you're using Belgian data. So that I think is the cheapest option amongst all of these. So the first one is a fairly obvious one, given the general global situation that we have in the Middle East. Try and book flights that are a little more flexible. Keep in mind how things are right now and plan accordingly. So pick airlines that don't fly through those regions. I think the Indian government has also provided some travel advisories depending on where the flight is going. So keep that in mind. If you're flying directly to Europe, not taking most connections through the Middle East and you're coming straight here, then generally your options are usually Turkish Airlines, Air France, or Lufthansa, or KLM. KLM usually drops you off at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. Lufthansa will be Frankfurt, and Air France will be Paris. You'll have to check your visa entry. Some of your visas, again, depending on what documents you submitted to VFS and the consulate, they will provide which country you will have your first entry to. So check your visa entry. If it says only Belgium, then your immigration will not happen at whichever country you're doing your layover. You'll have to go straight to the terminal and then switch straight onto the next flight to Belgium. If they've considered, okay, you have to go through immigration here and then switch to a domestic terminal and a domestic flight, you'll have to keep that in mind. You have to check your visa entry. Also check your layover times. Don't pick flights that are too close to each other or too far apart, because then you'll just be sitting with your luggage or you'll end up running with it. So plan accordingly. If you're coming straight to Belgium, your first entry into the Schengen area is going to be in Belgium at Zaventem in Brussels. Then the passport control and immigration queues are quite long, because Zaventem is a big connecting point for most Western European international travel. So generally keep that in mind. Even Paris, again, Paris International Airport you will spend a lot of time in immigration. So check your layover times, check that you have sufficient time between each flight to sit in the queues, transfer, whatever. You'll have to keep this in mind. Indigo does like a first leg thing for Turkish Airlines. So they do like the first leg from here to Istanbul, and then from Istanbul to Brussels usually will be Turkish Airlines. Indigo shares the codes with Turkish Airlines. Check your flight number, check when it is, because I think the timings are slightly different. Check the timings correctly. And generally the second leg from Istanbul to Brussels will be with official Turkish Airlines. Now account for Indigo to do Indigo things, delays, luggage problems. We know how Indigo is. Keep that in mind. If you're going to do that, it is a much cheaper option to do the first leg with Indigo, but keep in mind that these are possible complications. Air France has an official combination ticket, which is actually very, very useful. So you fly into Paris and they give you a train ticket from Paris to Brussels. And they have an option to transfer your luggage there directly. So if you're flying Air France, check visa entry and whether you get your option to do this. Obviously, your pickup will be at Brussels, and then from Brussels, you're sorted. Etihad, Emirates, and Qatar. Etihad is, I think, fairly trouble-free. So is Emirates. Qatar, I would not advise right now. Probably fly through Etihad or Emirates. But again, check your layover. Again, don't splurge for lounge access. It's probably only going to be 2 or 3 hours. You're not going to spend that much time in the airport. Check your layover times once again. Some quick tips. Some of these airlines, I think most airlines actually offer a student discount for extra luggage as well. So submit your admission letter. If you're flying with family, then you'll have to do different tickets. So your PNR number will be one PNR number. Your parents or whoever's coming with you will have to have a return ticket as well. So they will have a different PNR number. If you're claiming the discount, you can only claim it on your ticket. Check, read the terms and conditions. If you can't go through the whole thing in detail, call the airline. Just don't hesitate to call and ask. If you're sending parcels, this is something I did not do. A lot of people did. There are several courier services that do quick delivery from India to Europe. I think the more expensive one is DHL. The cheaper ones are India Post. India Post has their own thing to do international package transfer. There are other options as well, like FedEx and Blue Dart and things like that. Look up the options. They usually have a cost per kilogram and how much is a minimum package size and things like that. So check the procedure properly. Perishables and food are subject to clearance. That means when they arrive in Brussels or wherever the first contact point here in Europe is, they will be subject to clearance, which means they'll go through customs, they'll inspect the bag, they'll open it and ensure that everything is fine. Check it. Check all the procedure. If you are bringing some things that may leak, may spoil in the next couple of months, they can ban it. They won't even think twice. They'll just notify you, yep, your package is banned for XYZ reason. Check the conditions carefully, only then send a parcel. Also, try and be here to receive your parcel because, again, it's a little tricky. Delivering packages within Europe is a little tricky. So that is also something we'll come to in a bit, how to do delivery in the right way, in my opinion, because it's not as easy as it is back home. And generally, there is a VAT as well. So there is a value-added tax on parcel transport because you're importing objects from home. I would not suggest to send electronics. If you have bought a new laptop, carry your laptop with you. You will have to take it out of your cabin baggage at security, but do that. Laptops, electronics, cell phones, headset, whatever it may be, do not ship electronics. They are the number one thing that is stopped at customs and questioned relentlessly. So bring your electronics yourself. If it's a new system or a new machine or a new cell phone, bring it with you, always. If you have international warranties on your devices, again, check if your international warranty is valid in the country that you're going to. If you're buying devices here, they are more expensive. If you want to buy a laptop here in Europe, it is at least 40% more expensive than it is back home. Maybe, I think now because of the tariffs in the US, they might be a little cheaper than the US, but it's a point to consider. An average laptop, basic consumer laptop, like a Dell Inspiron midline kind of laptop will cost around 800 onwards. So 800 euros onwards, maybe up to 1500 euros. It's a consideration. If you want a high power machine, say you want a gaming laptop, then they're anywhere for like a mid-tier laptop is around 1800 all the way up to 3,500 euros for like a more high performance system. If you want to buy them here, if you want to buy them back home, check your extended warranty, check all of that once again. Apple Care is considered here. So if you have Apple Care back home, you're protected worldwide. So again, another consideration if you have those devices.
Quickly check in. I saw some questions online, and also Sudha did answer about that. Can we carry masalas through baggage? I always bring masalas when I go to India. It's better masalas from India than buying here. It's more, I like the flavors that I bring from India. So yes, and as Sudha mentioned, in the check-in baggage. I don't know the laws of how they check when you bring the check-in baggage here, but I always bring it and never got caught or nobody restricted us from bringing masalas and ghee. But of course, also as Sudha mentioned, ghee you should all put in the check-in luggage because ghee is a liquid that cannot pass the carry-on luggage. I have a question around which is cheaper to bring to take an extra check-in luggage or parcel, because I never did parcels, so I'm not sure about that.
And in terms of things to bring from home, I did not bring much from home. I brought, if you're from South India, 1 packet of MTR puliyogre mix and mixture, what is generally called in the north namkeen, just 2 of these, and that's all I brought from home. So I think it is cheaper to ship a large parcel because if you're shipping that much, there's usually like a weight allowance, a quantity allowance, what can be put in the parcel. That is like much cheaper than paying for another bag, because paying for another bag is nearly the price of another ticket. So it's a consideration. You'll have to keep that in mind. Here is, if you get the reference, this is from Eurovision 2 years ago. That's the song Europapa. So if you're landing at Brussels Airport, Zaventem, most of it is very easy from there because Zaventem is just 1 stop away from Leuven. It's very, very simple to get from there to here. We'll be covering that in a bit. If you're landing at Schiphol Airport, that's Amsterdam, outskirts of Amsterdam, and you don't have a connection to Zaventem, then look up the NS train company. That's the Nederlandse Spoorwagen, which is the Dutch train service in the Netherlands. They usually have trains that go from Schiphol Airport or Amsterdam Central straight to Antwerp or Brussels, and then from there you can take a connecting train to Leuven. It's relatively cheap. I think last time when I came from Amsterdam, it cost about 40 euros maybe, and that was after booking, I think, the day off. So it's cheaper if you book earlier. That is only if you do not have a connection. KLM will usually have a connecting flight. It's 30 minutes just from Schiphol Airport to Zaventem, and then you can hop off here. Now within Belgium, the train company is called SNCB in French, or NMBS, the Belgische Spoorwagen in Dutch. That is the train company within Belgium. They're fairly easy to use. At Zaventem, when you arrive in Zaventem, as per the KUL rule, there will be somebody there at a desk that says KU Leuven. You can go up there and they will help you. So they will tell you where to go to buy your ticket, what apps to install for your transport. So SNCB has their app. The Line, that's a bus service, they have their app, and you can purchase tickets here. You can check train schedules. All of this can be done. If you want to do all of this from home ahead of time, it can be done. Just type in SNCB Belgium, you'll get it. You want to do, you're flying through Schiphol, you're going straight to Amsterdam, and then you're coming from Schiphol to here without a connection, without a flight connection from Schiphol to Zaventem, then just look up NS International, and they can give you a 1-way ticket straight to Leuven, which will cover both legs. So look at what your options are. If you're doing a train from Schiphol to Leuven directly, generally you have 3 options, which are Eurocity Basic, which is generally quite slow. Eurocity Direct is in my opinion, is kind of like a good balance. It's cheap and it's just as quick. Eurostar is very expensive. So look at your options. Very few people, I think, actually fly through Schiphol and then don't have a connection to Zaventem. But if you're coming straight to Zaventem, it's very simple. You can just, there's an entire section for train transport because trains are used a lot in Belgium. So there is a section where you go there and you can pay for a ticket. Again, they do accept cash. So if you don't have a Forex card and you come only with cash, they accept cash. You go there and pay for a ticket. They'll give you a ticket. They'll tell you which platform to go to. Go there, hop on the train and come here. Now it costs €11.50. I think when I checked this last week, the price generally doesn't go up that much between now and when you guys are coming. They only raise the price every year or so. So it costs €11.50. It is a bit of a hassle because the steps into the train are quite tall, but it's quick. 20 minutes, you'll be here in Leuven, and then you can figure from here. There is a bus from Zaventem through De Lijn. It costs €3, but I would not suggest this because it is very, very slow. So the 20-minute journey by train becomes 45 minutes by bus because the bus will stop at every single bus stop all the way from Zaventem to various places on the way between Zaventem and Leuven. So my suggestion, come by train. Cabs, don't bother. They are very, very expensive. If you have too much baggage and you're forced to take a cab, take a cab. Because if you're bringing 2 cases on your own, it's quite a task lifting your case onto the train, especially when your case is heavy and the steps are tall. But cabs are expensive. So you'll end up paying anywhere between 40 to 60 euros to do this small 20-minute journey. Once you arrive in Leuven, if you already have your housing, your rental agreement is starting the day you land, great. Move in, follow your procedure. You know what to do. Do your inventory checklist, take a bunch of pictures, and then contact your landlord, move in. If you want to move in early, again, ask your landlord. If you're in a KUL residence hall, normally they have a strict cleaning procedure and days are kept aside for cleaning your room and sanitizing the room before the new tenant moves in. If it's already done for your room, great, move in. Contact your landlord, see if you can move in early. Otherwise, look at hotels. There are a few budget hotels. I think there's an Ibis right next to the train station, which is pretty cheap. And otherwise, Airbnb is always an option. There are some really nice Airbnbs in Leuven, and they are relatively cheap. So you may need like an interim kind of stay before you move in. These are your options. There is the KUL guest house as well, but it gets booked up very quickly. So check once again if it's still available. If it's available, book quickly. Then you follow your usual procedure. You register at university, you get your student card, and Pangaya here, that's the International Student Association. They will have an orientation, a very nice, very detailed orientation for non-EEA students. They cover everything. How to get set up here, most of the stuff that we've covered already, especially about the registration at City Hall and things like that. They go through that whole thing in detail. They will be able to answer more of your questions, maybe in more detail as well. What we've given you is the general flow you can expect, but do attend the orientation by Pangaya. It's really, really useful. They also have a Living in Leuven orientation program, which is again quite important because it's important to know some simple things about living in Europe, especially in Belgium. We do like a 4-way trash sorting. You have to know how to sort your trash, and that's quite important because if you don't do it, you're fined, and you're fined quite heavily for it. Some places don't sort, some places do sort. You will have to know where to put what. So attend the orientation. And then usually you'll also have an orientation by your faculty. The engineering sciences orientation is generally a little later, and it's like a whole international thing. You'll meet a lot of people from different countries, not just non-EEA. You'll end up meeting other people who are here from other European countries as well. So once you land here, do your registration, get your student card, register for all the orientation activities, attend them. They are quite useful. They're very informative. So
Quick check-in on the previous ones. just to give an idea about buses and trains here, it's not as crowded as India. And maybe if you're thinking, oh, it will be so crowded that I have to now take the bus or train with the luggage, it's not. Most of the time there is no one or very few people in the buses and trains here in Belgium. So as you are coming first time, I feel you should not worry that the crowd is a factor to make the decision, and then you go with the cab. Cabs are very expensive, as is written here, and I never took a cab from the airport for sure. No, it's really far and it's very expensive. It gets at least 5 times, 6 times as expensive as a train or a bus. Buses are cheap, but yeah, it's too long. But yeah, just something to think. It's not crowded.
And they're also very frequent.
Yes.
Especially the Zaventem train from Brussels Airport to Leuven or Hasselt. They're very, very frequent. Or even if you have to go within Brussels to like Brussels Zuid or Brussels Central, they're fairly frequent. So don't worry too much of, oh, will I miss a train? No, 10 minutes later, another train.
Yeah, the ticket you buy is for that day, so you don't have to worry about that also. The ticket you buy, if you maybe when you buy the ticket, you might need to give the time that you're going to take the train at, but if you miss that, totally fine. You can take the next one. It's for the entire day. So it's valid for that day.
So your immediate checklist, as soon as you settle in, what are the things you need? You need transport. If you want to rent a bike, then Velo is the bike rental agency that is there here in Belgium, or rather in Leuven specifically, and they're actually quite good. I have rented a Velo bike. You need to have your student card to do that. You have to register on their website to use their discount and to use the KUL specific bikes that identifies you as a KUL student. You get a KUL bike. It's labeled. It's generally a little better. It's in better shape and generally doesn't get stolen as much. Bike theft is a thing. You will have to keep that in mind. If you want to buy an expensive bike, buy an expensive lock. If you want to buy a bike, again, I do not suggest buying a bike. Your options are Decathlon or Swapfiets. Swapfiets is a thing in both Belgium and the Netherlands where you can just go and buy a bike. They also have a rental thing, but again, consider what is best for you. If you're fine with a cheap bike, it's okay. If you want a second-hand bike as well that doesn't have any KUL markings on it, you just have like a regular second-hand bike, you can buy that. They're much cheaper. You want a KUL bike, they're a little more expensive. They have a deposit as well. So bikes, here are your options. Decathlon will probably make you buy a bike. They don't rent as far as I know. Swapfiets, some of them let you rent, some of them make you buy. Velo would be my suggestion. That's also KUL's suggestion to go to Velo. They have a store, you're covered for maintenance, everything. If your bike gets stolen, it's insured, you're covered essentially. The other thing is a Mobib card. A Mobib card is basically a transport card, usually for bus and train or bus or train, depending on what you've done. In your registration, you would have had an option for university. You can, when you do the university registration, you have an option for a culture card, a sports card, and a bus card. The bus card that they're talking about is the Mobib card. If, say, you want to buy that later, you can go and buy it at the Lijnwinkel, which is basically the store that is there in the bus stand. You can go there, go to the bus station, and they have a little store there. You can buy a Mobib card. You need your residence card or some proof of address, and they can set you up. So first thing you need is transport. Now that you have transport, you need a cell phone or a cell phone number, some way, something here that you need in order for some form of communication for your bank account. Ideally, if you've done the KBC Plus account from back home, then you just come here and settle your bank account. You get an appointment, you go there, sign a few documents. They may need your PAN number. So if you know your PAN number, great. Otherwise, carry your PAN card, consideration again for your bank account, for setting up your bank account. Then your registration at City Hall, your Annex 15. And once you have your Annex 15, you have to do your health insurance. KUL suggests that you go through a health insurance provider called CM. In my opinion, they're the best. It's a completely seamless process. You take your Annex 15, you fill in the form that they have online, you submit, scan and submit everything to them, done. They'll tell you that we're going to charge so much. It's usually, I think, nearly 30 euros, a little short of 30 euros every quarter. So every 3 months, they're going to charge you so much, and then you're covered. The one time I've had to go to a GP because I'm covered by CM health insurance, they collected a large sum of money from the health insurance provider. I paid 6 euros for the actual consultation, and then about 7 or 8 euros for the medicines that were required for that consult. And you can set up your rent payments. Once you have your bank account, you have something called SEPA, which is basically like a monthly scheme. It will perform your monthly payment for you. You don't have to do it every month. If that works for you, great. In my opinion, I like to track my expenses very carefully. So I pay my rent manually every month. It's a little more tedious. It's a little more problematic, but here is another option. So these are generally your first setup items. Your travel insurance, which you're taking from home, there were quite a few questions about this in the group as well. 3 months, more than sufficient. You'll get your Annex 15 generally quite quickly. So then you can sign up immediately for the health insurance coverage and you're done. So don't sweat it too much when it comes to your travel insurance. You just need the minimal amount to cover you in case anything happens in the first few months that you're here. This, again, we're not going to go into too much detail about where to buy things and what can you buy here and what would you buy back home and which are the specific stores to go to, because that will be covered in the next webinar and by Pangaya here. So we're not going to go into too much detail. But if you're moving in brand new house, or rather not brand new, empty house, nothing in the cabinets, you're going to need some immediate items like pans, pots, some quick household furniture, maybe a chair, a duvet, a pillow to sleep on. You need all those kind of stuff. So Action is the store. It's called Action. There is a store pretty much in the center of the city. It's quite a well-known store. You can just put it in Google Maps, go there. It's a very budget-friendly option. So you can buy a lot of stuff there, from most of your household items, pots, pans, Bluetooth speaker if you need it. You get a couple of other things like tape measures, tools, things like that you may need for maintenance. You get your duvets, duvet covers, pillows, all the immediate stuff that you need to set up your house. The other thing that I ended up spending a lot of money for at Action, and I generally get quite distracted every time I go there, is I bought a bunch of lights. So you want fairy lights, you can buy those. You want those long ribbon RGB lights, you can buy those. You need a table lamp, Action. Quite cheap. I'd say they're a very budget-friendly option. Hema is the other option. Hema is a chain from the Netherlands. They are quite expensive. So if a duvet at Action costs, say, 8 or 10 euros, Hema will be around 40 to 50. So they are a lot fancier and nicer, but consider your options based on your budget. Purchasing electronics, say you want to buy a new headset when you're here. If you want to go to a physical store, then the physical store that is there across Germany, the Netherlands, and Belgium is MediaMarkt. They're a good option. I have been there, I think, once. You get quite a few nice options and lots, like a good variety. Otherwise, Amazon.be, always an option. You can just deliver. But delivery is a little tricky here. Now, I would not suggest delivering packages through Amazon to your house unless you are there, because the delivery person will usually show up there unless you have specifically stated to call them, for them to call you, or a specific place where your parcel is safe to keep. Only then will they keep it there. Otherwise, they sometimes make an objective decision, or like they make a call on the field, like, okay, this is probably not a safe place, and they'll take it back. So look at your general locality. Package theft is a thing, and package theft is very, very common. So keep that in mind. If you're going to have it dropped off in, say, a mail room in your residence hall, package theft is common. Keep that in mind. To avoid this and to make this generally a lot easier, we have something called drop-off points in Europe. It's usually a store, like a small supermarket, or even a massive bpost box, which is a postal box where the delivery person will go and place the parcel in it, and you get a code. And you can go there and share the code with the shopkeeper, or enter the code into the post box, which has like a little terminal, and then you can take your parcel. In my opinion, they're the best. Drop-off points that are usually stores are very, very convenient because you'll usually find a store near your residence or near where you live, near where you're going to classes. It's very, very convenient. I would suggest that you do this. And again, do it only once you're here in Belgium. Don't do it from back home. Second-hand purchasing is very, very common here. I know we as Indian people, we look at second-hand things like, why would you want to use someone else's used thing? But they're actually generally in quite good shape here. So second-hand purchasing is a very, very normal thing here. There's not much shame to it. And you get a lot of good options for quite cheap. But your options are through Facebook Marketplace. Be very, very careful. There are tons of scams on Facebook Marketplace. All items listed as 1, 2, 3, 4 euros, scam. Be a little careful. Check carefully whether the object is true, the object is what you want, the object exists, and only then contact the person to go and meet them, and only then exchange money. So be wary of scams. The other thing that we have is Tweedehandswinkels, which is basically a secondhand store or a thrift store. There are several of these. There's also a regular clothing store that you can go to, and it's like a thrift store. You can go and buy clothes and things like that. You want to buy a bike, some Tweedehandwinkels will also have bikes for sale. There are options. They are generally also quite cheaper than the other options that we've suggested. So secondhand purchasing is quite a normal thing and quite widespread in Europe. So these are your general places that you can go to for secondhand purchasing. Things I wish I did differently. Okay. These are my personal suggestions based off of how moving last year went. Now, I never attended any of these webinars back home. I did the entire move on my own. And that was good in some ways, but I also missed out on some of the key advice that could have probably helped. In my opinion, I'm from Bangalore. I'm born and brought up in Bangalore. Drinking coffee is a big part of our breakfast as well. Coffee here is very expensive. The crappiest machine coffee is 2 euros. Black coffee, no milk. Milk and sugar, €2.40, €2.20. It is expensive. Bring coffee from home. That would be my suggestion. You can buy Nescafe instant coffee. It's, I think, 10 euros for like a small jar. You get cheaper options. Most supermarkets have their own brand that is cheaper. It's usually quarter the price of a branded company and just as good. Again, it's another option, but I would suggest personally, because I like drinking coffee from back home. I like my Karnataka coffee, pack coffee. Spices and some condiments. I brought one spice with me, and it technically isn't even a spice. It's chaat masala. You can buy spices here. They are available. There are lots of Indian grocery stores here in Leuven. I think there's 3 on the same street, which is Brusselsstraat. You have a lot of options there. Our general go-to for most Indian students is Everest House, which is a nice, small Asian supermarket, Indian supermarket on Brusselsstraat, where you get everything. I personally go to a different supermarket called the Asian supermarket, Ashoka. I get everything I need there. Most spices are available from the companies that you know back home. So if you like buying Everest Pav Bhaji Masala, it's available. It is expensive because these are imported straight from home. I think my favorite thing that I mentioned once to a friend on a call like this once, I told him that I bought a packet of kurkure for €1. It was a 20 rupee bag and it's written on it's 20 rupees. But because it's imported and it's brought all the way here, it's charged at €1. So things are expensive. Should you bring your entire masala dabba from back home? No. In my opinion, don't. Pick 1 or 2 items that you want to bring. The rest you'll end up buying here because the masala dabba is not going to last forever. So they are expensive. Your usage also will be a factor to keep in mind. Are you going to cook Indian food every day? It's a consideration. Some people do want to cook Indian food every day. Some people are fine with eating other food here. So it depends on your usage. Are they available here? Yes. You also get Maggi here, so don't worry too much. How much does this generally cost? When I go to the Asian store, when I'm cooking every day on my own, that is my own meals pretty much every day, one trip to the Asian store happens every month, it costs about 40 euros. But I get a lot of food. You get a lot of food that will cover you for 40 euros. That's enough. I also buy a couple of frozen items that they have here. Like you get frozen gyoza. I like those. So you buy those as well. They're like 8 euros a bag. I don't know specific costs about specific items. I know only some of the costs of the things that I buy. You get, if you're from the south, then you get frozen parotas. Like you have ID parota back home. You get those here. About 4 to 10 euros a bag, depending on how many are there in it. Masalas are generally around 3 to 4 euros for one of those little boxes that we see in supermarkets back home. You get the same ones here. They cost about 3 to 4 euros. You get some ready-made curries, like they're ready-made vacuum sealed curries that you get as is. If you're missing home, you want to have proper old style pav bhaji, you can buy it. They're about 8 euros or 10 euros for one of those. If you want to eat Indian food here, again, it will be expensive. So all of these depend on whether you want to and whether you are willing to pay those prices. The other thing I definitely wish I did better is buying more versatile jackets. And I've ended up doing that here. So what I did back home was that I bought 2 hoodies and I bought one fleece-lined raincoat, which is a bit problematic because when it started becoming hot and it rains, then it's very problematic. You can't wear a fleece-lined raincoat in the rain. It's too much. You'll end up sweating a lot. And I definitely should have brought more versatile waterproof clothes. I have bought them here. They are around 8 to 10 euros, depending on how much you're willing to pay. Again, they're around 8 to 10 euros at Action. You can get those. But generally, I don't think I would have done that much differently. I did not personally ship anything from back home. I bought pretty much everything here. The only things I brought from home were my clothes, a couple of, I brought stationery. Not really a big deal. You can buy stationery here. It's quite cheap. But I brought stationery from back home. And yeah, that's about it. I brought a few other small items and maybe some like posters and things like that. Like you want to set up a home, you want to make it feel like home. So I brought a couple of those items and that's about it. I really didn't bring that much else. So in my opinion, it would be, some things are better to be bought here rather than shipping and packing. And it's a lot of effort. It is a lot of effort. But if you're fine with it and you want that specific thing from back home, do it. This is up to your discretion and whether you're fine with doing all of the steps that come with it. Because if you're shipping, then there's several processes to it. There's several steps. There's several things to keep in mind. If you're adamant, yes, I want my stuff from home, do it. But keep in mind all the conditions, consequences, other things to consider when you're doing all of this. If you're fine with buying here, it will cost you. So money, a lot. It depends. There were some things that I paid a lot of money for because I didn't know that there were better options. I did this incredibly stupid thing when I went to IKEA. I paid a lot of money for something that I could have bought at Action for maybe quarter the price. So look at all your options, ask around as well. Most things are available in Leuven. If they're not available in Leuven, then you can usually go to Brussels and they're available there. But most things you need are available here. Don't stress too much. Don't overpack. Don't generally cause a nuisance at the airport when, okay, your bag is overweight and things like that. So these are things to keep in mind. And yeah, I personally think my move was relatively hassle-free. It was very methodical. I had planned the whole thing out. I had a long checklist. Like, okay, we're going one after the other, and you have the whole flow going. Now it is quite scary. It is very daunting. There are too many steps. Everything feels like it's very confusing. But there is a certain flow to it. All you have to do is get the flow down. So once you know which item has to be done when and in which order, that's it. Just follow the order. Europe, there is generally a very specific way to dealing with this kind of bureaucracy. You have to follow the order. It's not presented particularly well. You will end up searching quite a bit, especially I've spoken about some forms that you need to fill online. You will have to search for the form specifically. So do all the reading, take your time, go through it carefully, follow the procedure exactly, and then literally go one by one. It's very, very methodical. If you follow the procedure, it's smooth. Your entire move, your registration, your everything will become very, very smooth. Just follow the procedure carefully. And yeah, so I'm going to just quickly go through all the questions that are there in the form that that you guys have submitted first. Then so we'll go through that first. Then if there's any more in the chat, then we'll come to those. Just like a really quick one. So I think I've covered most of these. There are some specific items and overall checklists that you guys have asked. What are some food items that are cheaper to get from India? Everything is cheaper in India, dude. I'm sorry. That's my answer. Everything is cheaper in India. The question is, are you willing to pay the price there, or are you willing to pay the price here? Are you willing to pay more for more baggage or more to ship it here? Are you fine with paying Belgian prices? Because if you're going to keep shipping, it's going to cost a lot. If you're going to pay here after that, it's not going to cost you as much, or maybe it'll cost you more. You'll have to look into this. I don't know what you're trying to bring from home, what food items you want to bring from home. You'll have to look this up. Some specific items we can probably help you with that. But generally, on average, things are cheaper back home. If you're trying to bring things from home here, you pay the cost of importing it or shipping it. Or if you're trying to buy it here, then you have to pay the price that you pay on top of that. I think we've kind of covered an overall checklist. Yep, even things to take, things not to take. Cooking utensils, saucepans, pots, things like that. I would suggest buy here. That is kind of pointless bringing from home, in my opinion. They don't cost that much more. I think it's maybe €2 more, 200 rupees more. That's about it. But you get better pans. The other thing that you can also consider, especially if you're in a student residence hall, a lot of previous residents will leave behind stuff, and they'll just leave it for free. So they'll usually notify other people who are staying here from the previous year, hey, this shelf, it's full of stuff that I'm not using, and I can't sell them. I can't take them with me. I'm leaving them here. If you're in a KUL residence hall, you usually get stuff like that. Otherwise, the trade hard winkles, like we mentioned, secondhand stores, you go there. If you want new pots and pans, Action is your store to go to. You get fairly versatile stuff there. Getting from Brussels to Leuven, we've covered that. To your specific residence hall, Google Maps is your friend. Use Google Maps. If you want these specific bus routes, once you land here in Zaventem, go to the desk, they'll tell you which apps to install the apps, register, do the whole thing that's required. And they will tell you, you can plan your route, you can see which bus goes where, which train goes where, how far it is from your place, how frequent it is, when is it coming. You get a very, very detailed information on the Deline app and the SNCB apps, respectively, as to where, what is, when it's coming. If the bus, more often than not, buses even have tracking information. Usually it'll be tagged there and they'll tell you how many minutes away it is. So you can plan your travel accordingly. All of this information is available to you. So definitely keep that in mind. Choosing dates for VFS interview, this is sent by a PhD student. I'm not entirely sure. If there is a PhD student here who knows, please do raise your hand and answer that. Because the one thing I know is that the PhD Schengen visa is a different code from the regular student visa. For me, as a student, living in Bangalore especially, the VFS thing didn't even have an appointment. They told me I could walk in and show up anytime. So read the procedure that is there on the VFS site and through the consulate, which visa code to apply. Check all of this once. If there's a PhD student here who can answer that, please do raise your hand and you could probably field that question. How much would it cost per month excluding housing? Now, this is very subjective. This is quite subjective. I can give you the price of some items. Like I eat lunch at Alma every day. If you want a bowl of spaghetti bolognese, then it costs, this year it's going to cost €6 for one bowl of spaghetti bolognese. That would be a lunch. And it's quite filling. It's a nice generous portion. And that's at the student restaurant. If you want to do takeout, delivery, For food, it'll cost, some places have a minimum delivery order. So you'll have to pay at least 10 euros, 20 euros. Some places have delivery fees, some places don't. Generally, I spend around 200 to 250 euros on groceries for fresh groceries. So that would be meat, poultry, vegetables, other things that you'll need to make a meal. And maybe like a couple of other stuff, fruits and things like that will probably come in that. That usually costs around 200, 250 euros. Generally, what KUL says is that the 1,050 euros that are provided to you through your bank, through your blocked account, is just enough to cover your rent and all your grocery expenses and your meals and your, say you want to party, you want to go out for drinks. It generally covers all of that. In my experience from the previous year, for me, it was only 1,000 euros a month. I generally spent around 1,100 euros a month. So a little bit was going out of my pocket as well. And that covered my groceries, my rent, my food, one night of intense drinking. And yeah, that's generally enough. So again, it depends on what your rent is, how much you're willing to pay, which stores you're going to as well, because here we have several grocery store chains, and they're at different price points. We have Aldi and Lidl that are very cheap. You also have Delhaize, which is quite expensive. So consider what your options are. Is it the same product everywhere? Yes, a bottle of orange juice at Lidl is the same bottle of orange juice you'll get at Delhaize, but Delhaize is probably a little more expensive and probably a higher thing. One key thing that you can look out for here in Europe is packaged food has something called a Nutri-Score. So it's graded A to E. A to E. A is like very healthy, E is not. So again, healthier, generally more expensive. Salads, expensive. A bar of chocolate, €1, €2, very unhealthy. So how much will it cost? Anybody can only give you an estimate. It will depend on what you're willing to pay for, where you're willing to buy from, and things like that. So consider those things once you come here. The orientation, the Living in Leuven orientation by Pangaya will give you all your options that you need.
Just because expenses are very personal, and Aaron did share his experience. Maybe Sudha, you can pitch in, because you would have a different experience of how expensive your life was here in Leuven in the last 1 year.
Like, since I'm a vegetarian, so I don't spend much on meat and all, because I think meat is expensive here. And also I don't eat out much. So I spend around 100 or 150 euros a month on groceries and extra stuff. Like including eating out. I eat out like once or twice every 15 days. So for me, it's quite economical.
Yep, I've also been told that I spend a lot on food. So I eat a lot. I have several meals a day, way more than 3. So, and I snack a lot. So all of this racks up for me. It may not rack up for you. So keep that
in general, I have lived here as a student and now I'm working here. Before, the costs were less, but if you scale it up, I could live a month in 150 euros on groceries if I'm cooking at home. But if I'm frequently eating outside and going to parties and drinking, it can go up to 350 euros. So it is up to you to see what you're buying and see how you're spending.
And one advice I give to everyone, if you want to save money, is to learn cooking. The most expensive thing that you would spend is if you go out and eat. Everything else is either you have to spend for sure, that is your rent. Another is something that you don't have to, like partying and stuff. But cooking and eating really saves you a lot. So spend the 1 or 2 months you are in India to learn how to cook properly. That's my big advice that I wish I knew when I came to Europe, but I learned it the hard way.
Yep.
So yeah.
Absolutely. During the January exam season, my rent is a little expensive. My rent is around 610 euros a month. So during the exam season, I sat and cooked completely on my own using groceries, literally just enough that I need, buying only when I need it as well. I actually managed to finish well under €1,000 that month, and actually managed to save some money. So cooking on your own is cheaper. If you can, do it. If you can't, I would suggest that you learn as well. If you are adamant you do not want to cook, there is another option. So grocery stores in Leuven and generally in Europe as well, I've seen this quite a bit, you get a packaged meal. So it's like one bowl of pasta, €4, €5, something like that. They're not really going to be amazing and incredibly tasty, but they're food. It is food, it is cheap, it comes in a package, you don't have to worry about it. Poke some holes, chuck it in the microwave, you're sorted. It is another option. I did that, I think, for maybe the first couple of weeks when I was here, and then I decided, okay, this enough is enough. This is costing me a little too much. I'm going to start cooking on my own. If you don't want to, that is an option. Alma, as a student restaurant here in Leuven, is actually very economical, especially if you are in engineering sciences. We have several Almas all across the Castle Park, so you can go to any one of them. They're a good option. It's healthy food as well because it's fresh. Yep, we covered Indian grocery stores, clothes and utensils. Rental agreement here, someone has mentioned that their rental agreement is for a year. Can I change my house post one semester? Please read your rental agreement carefully. Some residence halls, some landlords will let you cancel your agreement if you notify them so many months ahead of time. If you find a better place to live, which meets your convenience, your cost, your everything, by all means, check and see if you can leave, find a better place. Finding a place to live in Leuven is not easy. It can get quite expensive quite quickly. Consider all your options, consider amenities, consider proximity to your university, to your classes. Look at all these options and read your rental contract. If you need an English translation, ask your landlord for an English translation. I would not entirely rely on Google Translate. So ask your landlord. If they are unwilling or they take too long to respond, ask someone to help you translate it. Most Belgian students who you meet here will be quite helpful. They will help you translate a rental agreement, but read your rental agreement carefully.
One advice there is that Leuven does offer a service to support you in understanding your rental contract.
Yeah.
You could make use of that. They are helping us for free to support us in how the contract is written, and mostly they try our best to support you guys. And you should understand, if there is a dispute between a tenant and the landlord, the tenant has more priorities here. So you are more protected in law, provided that you understand what you signed up for. So make use of the Leuven service and don't worry about if there is, you don't understand it very well. You have a bit more protection over this, but if you sign something, then you have to stick to that.
Okay, there's one question that popped up right now that I kind of want to
I
answer.
think but if
Go ahead,
it's
Sudha.
cheaper if you have a roommate. If you're willing to be a roommate and if you're willing to keep a roommate, it's really cheap.
Yeah. Again, definitely keep that in mind. There's one question that popped up that I really want to answer, which is about whether KU Leuven has Dutch classes. Yes, they do. There is the International Language Training Institute, or ILT, as it's spelled in English. They have Dutch classes. If you're from certain faculties, you also have an elective called Dutch Language and Cultures. I've done that. It's a very nice, fun course. So yeah, KUL does offer Dutch classes. Should you learn Dutch? This isn't there in the form, and this is like a personal thing. Should you learn Dutch? In my opinion, yes. Learn the language. You're coming to a completely new place. Learn some basic phrases when you come here. I would not suggest Duolingo except for like maybe a couple of words and phrases. Otherwise, please learn it the normal way. It's quite useful to learn the local language whenever you move to any other part of the world or country, because it helps a little bit. People are generally a little more friendly to you, and it's also polite when you come to a new place to learn the local language. So I would suggest that you learn Dutch.
I would like to add there, people here all speaks English very well. So if you don't know the language, doesn't mean that you cannot get around. But I'll agree with Aaron. My experience 10 years living in Europe is that you go to a new country, learn that country's language. And very importantly, if you want to continue living here after your studies, please spend time to learn the language as soon as you come to this country. It helps you in finding jobs. It helps you to have a permanent residency here if you want to be a citizen. Any long-term goal, if you have beyond your master's studies, I would say you should learn the language of that country that you're moving there. And here, because we are in the Flanders region of Belgium, it is Dutch, and spend time to learn it. It will help you a lot, and you will thank me eventually. But if you are planning to go back after, and you're 100% sure that you're going back to India or to some other country, then maybe you can skip learning the language. But other than that, please learn the language of the country.
Yep. So
I can't stress more enough, because I have learned it the hard way. So you need to learn the language of the country.
So I think some of you might have already looked this up, how Belgium works. So Belgium is broadly 3 provinces. You have Brussels, Flanders, and Wallonia. Wallonia speaks French. Brussels is considered a bilingual place. So they basically support both French and Dutch. And Flanders speaks Dutch primarily. You also have announcements in French, and you get documentation in French. As per the Belgian federal government, all documents can be provided in French, Dutch, and German. So if you know German as well, great. There is a small part of Belgium that speaks German, so German is also supported. If you know any of these languages, you can pretty much get around here fairly well. In Leuven and other big cities, yes, people speak English. English is taught in Belgium from a very young age, so most people are quite proficient with English. But yeah, still, learn Dutch. I encourage most people to learn Dutch. Just a few words and phrases, even if not the entire language in a professional sense. Learn please, thank you, hi, hello, good morning, the usual. Right. So the next query is how much cash to carry. I'd say this is a personal thing again. When I moved, I actually came only with cash. So I had maybe 120 euros, and then I got my bank account pretty quickly, and then I transferred money to myself. So I was sorted quite quickly. Cash is accepted pretty much everywhere except Alma. Okay, again, this is a personal thing. I went and very proudly showed up at Alma first day of classes and tried paying in cash, and they said, sorry, only card, man. And I hadn't yet got my money through international transfer. Someone else had to pay for my lunch. I gave him cash. So should you bring cash? Yes, bring a little bit. Do they accept cash? Most places accept cash. And you'll also get lots of coins. Coins are useful when you're doing laundry. Most laundromats pay by coin. Some have apps that you can do online payment through. So again, probably bring just a little bit of cash. Do not exchange at the airport. Do not exchange cash at the airport. The prices are astronomical. Go to your bank and see if they do Forex at the bank. Or again, I won't particularly advise a Forex center. You have a lot of these across most Indian towns to go and exchange money there. Do not exchange money at the airport. The rates are through the roof. You'll pay a lot in extra commission, taxes, and then after that, a raised exchange rate for no reason. So do not exchange money at the airport. A guide to study at KUL. This will be covered by orientation. So from my personal experience, KUL is challenging. If you're doing an engineering degree, particularly in engineering sciences, I'm doing my engineering degree at engineering sciences, it can be very challenging. So I would suggest that you work hard. Most courses are quite challenging. Pangaya will cover the orientation in detail, so I'm not going to answer most of those questions. But I think you guys have chosen this university, you know what you're signing up for. Do we recommend any courier service? DHL is expensive, but they're good, and your package will come quickly. You can track it. All of that is covered. And I think I was planning to do one, and at that point I was planning to bring a package from home, and that was going to be through DHL, but then I decided against it because I didn't need it that urgently. India Post and other like snail mail kind of parcel transport also exists. It takes longer. So balance cost versus effort. Are you willing to pay very little and then wait a long time, and then it'll take forever to get shipped, and then you'll have to probably go and walk somewhere to go and pick up your parcel? Or do you want it at your doorstep in the next 3 days? Are you fine with paying those prices? You will have to look at how much weight each of these services allow, and then look at that. So look at those options in detail. The best way to travel from Brussels Airport to Leuven, if you have a good amount of luggage, except train. Cab services. Okay. If you're forced to take a cab, again, I will not recommend taking a cab. It's very expensive. Uber is active here in Europe. Uber is quite good. I have never actually used it, but the app works here. The cabs are quite quick. They are quite clean, and they're generally quite helpful. And the cab driver will speak English. If you want to use the local taxi service, in Leuven, we have a taxi service called Taxi Jenny. They have their own app. Again, once you land in Leuven, you can ask the person at the desk. They'll tell you what the app's name is in particular. I don't know the exact app name. But again, come to Zaventem. There's a desk there. There is a KUL student there at the desk. They will be able to help you for specific options. Should you take a cab? In my opinion, no. If you have too much luggage, you don't think you'll be able to handle it on the train, take a cab. Look at what is best for you. I'm sorry, some of these questions you will have to consider what is best for you. Is it hard to find a part-time job in Belgium and managing them with your studies? This is, again, quite personal. Is it hard to find a part-time job? Not really. Most waiting jobs, like doing waitress or waiter kind of work or kitchen cleaning, is generally a little easy to find, and they don't require you to speak Dutch. Some jobs will require you to speak Dutch, which means you'll have to know Dutch relatively fluently to do like front of house kind of work. So point of sale at, say, a takeaway company like Burger King or KFC, if you have to be at the front and interact with people, then you'll probably need to know Dutch. If it's just some sort of cleaning job like kitchen cleaning, janitorial work, or waiting and like waitress kind of work, it is a little easier to find. Delivery as an option, again, is a thing. So if you want to work as a student doing a delivery job, it is possible. We have two main apps, takeaway.com and Deliveroo. Takeaway.com is my go-to when I'm getting food delivered. They're very quick, and they are always hiring students for part-time work. Can you manage it with your studies? Personal thing. I'm sorry. I personally would not suggest it. KUL is a tough university. The syllabus can be challenging. You will be required to study every day. How much of that time you're willing to put aside to do your part-time job? Is it a financially viable option for you? Otherwise, are your finances not viable? You will have to consider all of those options and whether you're fine with putting in that much effort to doing a part-time job and studying. So you will have to make this sacrifice or this decision entirely on your own. Is it easy to find jobs? There are some jobs. The other English-speaking jobs, like there are some point-of-sale jobs that are entirely in English, but those go very quickly. So they are in quite high demand. There are other jobs that you can do for part-time here with KUL, like Pangaya has like a part-time job thing to work the bar here. Again, they go very quickly. So you'll have to apply, you'll have to check if they have vacancy, and then look at that. Are you fine with carving out that much time every day, every week? 20 hours a week is part-time as per Belgian labor laws. Consider all of these options. Do they pay well? Minimum wage in Belgium, I think, is nearly 13 euros an hour. So 13 euros an hour, 4 hours a day, part-time, 5 days a week, you do the math. It can support your stuff, but in my opinion, I think I would advise against it. Your studies will keep you busy enough. Right, so that's the end of the questions from the form. So now we're going to
maybe about the study load, maybe Sudha can pitch in also, because it really depends on the course itself.
Yeah,
right?
it also depends on your faculty.
Course, yeah. What do you feel, Sudha?
Yeah, for my course, I'm doing bachelor's in engineering technology, and it requires a lot of hours to study. but I also did a part-time job in my first semester, and it was in the winter, so the days were smaller and the nights were longer. But I think I managed it. So if you can manage a part-time job with your studies, it's better. But I was also required to speak Dutch, but I somehow managed for like a month. But after that month, I had to leave the job because I couldn't speak Dutch, and I didn't find any other job since then, which I'm looking for. So also for the university jobs, there are some university jobs KU Leuven posts on its website. It's job teaser website, so you can also check there if you have time. So yeah, I think if you can manage, I did manage. So if you can manage, it's better if you have a part-time job.
So yeah, it's pretty much down to personal experience, how much time you're willing to put aside, how challenging your studies are, how challenging you find your studies as well. So I'd say that we can only give you a bunch of options and some opinions. In my opinion, if you're doing engineering sciences, it's very challenging. It's very, very challenging. You will probably not find time. We have a lot of projects that are running simultaneously more often than not. So
Yeah, that's true. In the second semester, it was a very, very, very busy season.
Yep. Okay, let's go over the questions in the chat. Some of them, some of our colleagues did already answer. Sutta, Shreya, Arun, all of them answered some of them. Some things which I saw that was not yet answered is that one by Pixel Mango. Do we have to use the blocked account to renew our residence permit as well?
okay, if you've done the blocked account once, you will get an email to redo your blocked account, or you have another option, which is the Annex 32. They are different procedure. If you're doing a blocked account again, you just fill in the form. They send you an email with the same financial attestation that you need to fill in again, and the same transfer details. Do it ahead of time. But in order to renew your blocked account, renew your residence permit, there is a certain procedure to it. Again, it's covered on the website. I think for this year, what they had mentioned is that you need your transcripts of this year, your first year at Leuven, and your re-registration for university. Technically, you're registered every year. So you have to register for your second year of study here. And then after that, you get a confirmation, you take that, submit everything to the city office, and then they renew your residency. Can you switch? Yes, you'll have to read the procedure. It's a little tricky if you want to switch from the blocked account to Annex 32 as your financial attestation. In my opinion, blocked account is it's a very seamless process, but you need a large sum of money ahead of time.
Another question is, while filling out the VOW form, I listed Belgium as my first point of entry into Europe. Can I still book a flight with a layover in another European country? I haven't received the visa yet.
Okay, this you will have to check with your airline. This is usually a little problematic. I would suggest that you try and get first entry at Belgium. If your visa says first entry at Belgium, you will have to enter the Schengen area through Belgium. Check with your airline once again. If you got first entry through Belgium, just try and come through Belgium. If it's not an option, contact the airline, see what they can do, because they generally, your first entry has to be at the same country, no matter what. The transfer from international, say if you land in Paris and you need to transfer to a plane that is flying from Paris to Belgium, it's considered domestic travel. Within Europe, within the Schengen area, is considered domestic travel, and you'll end up transferring terminals. So check with your airline once again and see if you can get an option that will allow you to enter through Belgium into the Schengen area. Your first thing has to be the same.
Okay.
There was one question about weather being really troublesome, especially in the winter. Okay. January and February usually have a little bit of snow. It's not very often. It happens maybe a couple of days in a row. Is it troublesome? It's problematic to bike because you will tend to slip quite a bit, and you have to be very careful if you're biking in the snow. If you're biking in the rain, it's generally not that bad, but you still have to be careful. Is it troublesome? Is a little subjective. I'll say it's unpredictable. So keep checking your weather app at the start of the week and every day, and throughout the day as well, because sometimes it changes. Like today, it's a very pleasant 28 degrees outside, but it also said that it's going to rain in the evening. So I have brought my umbrella and I'm going to be here for quite a while. So I have planned ahead. You have to keep those things in mind. I would say keep checking your weather app, whatever app that may be. Keep checking it regularly. Weather is not troublesome. It's very unpredictable. So plan ahead.
What is a decent amount of rent one should be paying?
This again is a very personal question. When I wanted to move here, I wanted my own bath, so I'm paying a little bit more. If you're fine with sharing, it works out cheaper. What is a general decent amount? You will have to generally expect around 400 to 500 euros would be a shared kitchen and shared bath. I think this year rent prices have gone up. 600 to 750 would be your own bath and a shared kitchen. Anything above that is considered a studio, and it goes up to quite a bit more. Like Sudha mentioned, a roommate is always cheaper. You can rent a 2-bedroom apartment. There are also some specifications. So an apartment is defined as a certain square footage, or rather here it's given in square meters. So there is a certain definition as per housing rules where you can house 2 people in an apartment of a certain square footage or a certain area. Look it up. I think it's
30 square. I think it's 30 meters square. If it's more than 30, then 2 people can stay. If it's less, then 2 people can't stay in that room. Also, if not an apartment, you can also rent a studio together.
Yeah. So check usually the listing will also state if it's for 1 person or for 2 people. So look it up. If you can get a roommate ahead of time, great. If you want to come here and find a roommate, somebody will usually be there who's willing. So a roommate is always an option. If you're going to a KUL residence hall, most of your stuff are covered. For KUL residence halls, from what I have seen, at least there are 2 options. There is one that is completely managed by KUL. So you have a KUL manager. They're generally very approachable. You can get contact hours with them at any point in time. The other one is a KUL residence managed by an external company. There are some housing and real estate companies here in Leuven, like Flavis and Globus, I think it's called. They also manage some of these residence halls. They have slightly different procedures to this, and each residence hall will have their own different way of doing things, like how regularly are common washrooms maintained. That is subject to where you're living.
And you have to pay to these agencies.
Yeah, some of them will have cleaning costs that are charged every 6 months or something like that. Some of them are covered in your rent. So look up your house rules, look up your rental contract. That will cover most of these questions.
Okay. The next one is, do you recommend setting up something like Wise or Revolut?
Revolut, in my opinion, I'd say just use it for other European travel. Like earlier this year, I traveled to Hungary. Hungary doesn't use the euro. They use their own currency called the Hungarian forint. So I needed their currency rather than paying Forex prices every time I want to pay for anything. So that time I created a Revolut account.
I can speak for Wise.
Yep.
I use Wise for 7 years now. So it's my go-to. I get my salaries in Wise. I use them quite extensively, but not inside Belgium. So inside Belgium, I normally use KBC or the bank account that you have. Whenever I go outside Belgium, I always use Wise. You can take money from the ATM using that card. You can spend it there without fees. One caveat is that setting up as a Belgium resident is different from setting up as an Indian resident. So if you set up Wise or Revolut, I don't know if you can do Revolut. Wise you can from India is different. Then you are a resident of India and you set up as that. I would suggest is that wait, come to Belgium, get your residency card here, set up Wise account or Revolut account as a Belgian resident.
Yeah.
Then the rules are different. Then you have a different policy of getting the card, and also and I think they don't even deliver the card in India. Back then, I don't know now how it is. But my suggestion is that wait, come to Belgium till you get your residence card. deal with some banks that you already have in India, or the suggestions that aren't suggest. But after you get a residence card here, set up Wise or Revolut here so that you have the residency as a Wise residency or a Revolut residency as Belgium. That's my suggestion.
For international transfers, what I've used for paying my tuition fee has always been my bank's international transfer option. I didn't use any of the other, there's like trunk transfers through wire transfer where they transfer like a large sum of money and your money gets put in that and it takes longer. But I've never used any of those services. I've done international transfer through my bank's international transfer policy. I don't think it's that much more expensive. I think once by mistake when I was doing the transfer, I accidentally put the charges on my end because I was transferring money to myself and I paid €9 in charges. It's not a big deal, but that's my recommendation.
Okay. So Kirtan, so no part-times in Saturdays and Sundays.
I think that depends on what the job is and where the job is. So it depends. Sundays are generally holidays. You will not find grocery stores open at all. Maybe a few. There's also grocery stores close around 7, 8 p.m. There's also this, if you want to buy things later than that, there's something called a Nachtwinkel or a night shop, and you can go there and buy some essentials and like small, very specific items. But because they're Nachtwinkels, they're open generally through the night as well. They're a little more expensive. Sundays, no grocery stores. You'll have to keep that in mind.
Okay.
Is there any preference of mobile phones to bring to Belgium since many phones might face country locking? Again, little subjective. If your phone is country locked to India, try and buy an unlocked phone in India. It is cheaper than buying it here. If you have an iPhone, then you're generally covered. Very rarely does India actually lock phones to India. And the phones, if you're buying a subscription here, it doesn't lock your phone to this region. So you're fine if that's a concern.
So Samya asked, will I not have a one-on-one interview with any visa officer? Sudha did answer a bit, but then she also asked, I did not apply visa from India, so I have no idea. Aaron.
This, I think a lot of people have shared their experiences even in the group. I think it kind of varies from person to person. Some people had it, some people didn't. When I went and did my visa procedure, I had to fill in the questionnaire. And then after I was just asked a few simple questions like, okay, why do you pick KUL? What program are you doing here at KUL? How are you going to support yourself? And like, yeah, that's about it. They had like, it was like a 5-minute quick questionnaire. Literally, they just quickly asked me a couple of questions and then I turned in the questionnaire and that was it.
Okay. Do I have to apply for a visa again if I want to pursue higher education in the same university or any other European countries?
So generally how this works is that when you come here and you do your residence permit is valid for 1 year and you have to renew it every year. Say after your 1 year or 2 year study program, you have to search for a job. You haven't yet got a job, you're still in Belgium, you want to reside here for 1 more year. The Belgian residence permit allows you to apply for something called a search period permit, which is the same as a residence permit, but it extends it for 1 year to let you search for a job. If you're traveling to another country immediately, then you have to go there and then deal with that country and their procedure. You show them your Belgian residence permit, and if it's still valid, then they'll have their own procedure in the other country and the other municipality to deal with how to transfer, how to move, all of that. You'll have to look that up based on which country, which province, which municipality, how, and which university as well. This will vary from place to place.
And for the other European countries, I can say, because I did that, you need to apply for a new visa if you go to a different country. Let's say you got a higher opportunity in let's say Portugal or some in Italy. You need to apply for a visa again. But if you have a residency, valid residency in that country, in Belgium, let's say you have it, till you finish your residency, you can apply for the visa in that country. So what do I mean is that you got a higher opportunity in Italy. You don't have to go back to India to apply for visa in India. You can do it in Belgium through a Italian embassy here in Belgium. But the important thing is that you need to have a valid residency when you apply for the visa in that country. So if you have a residency in Belgium, you can apply for a visa of the next country in Belgium, in the embassy of that country that is in Belgium. And almost all embassies are there in Brussels, because Brussels is technically the European capital also, because the European Union Parliament is here. So there almost all embassies are there in Brussels, so you can apply it here, provided you have a valid residency here. Quickly, we are almost time, so I will just quickly go to some questions, like the number of entries in my visa shows as multi. So can I land in Paris and then come to Leuven? Yes, you can, because it's a multi-entry visa. Then for the first 2 weeks of my course, I'll be staying in Brussels, as my residence hall only allows me to move in from the 16th. Based on what I have seen online, my travel is about an hour every day from where I'll be staying, and it's just a transfer across a few trains. Any tips or things to look out for during my 2 starting weeks traveling from Brussels to Leuven? I don't know.
Okay, be a little careful in Brussels.
Yeah.
That would be my suggestion. Be a little careful in Brussels. Brussels is a very large city with a very, very large international community, and it is not the safest place. So be careful. Lot of petty crimes like theft and pickpocketing and things like that. It's very common. So be a little careful in Brussels. Even otherwise, if you're traveling to Brussels to go and visit Brussels and look at Atomium or things like that, just be a little careful. Any other tips I can probably give you? SNCB has like a regular ticketing system that you can buy a set number of tickets ahead of time. They usually have like a monthly pass or like a multi-ticket for like a couple of weeks. So that will let you save a little bit of money rather than paying for one ticket every time you want to travel. So you can save a little bit of money that way. When you land in Brussels, install the app, look at the different ticket options, and then pick which one would suit you best.
Okay, the last 2 questions quickly. What are the certain things that you can take advantage of student discounts?
Travel is definitely one of them. You get a student discount for traveling. There are some restaurants here that will have student discounts. They'll have student specific meals. There are like, a starter, an entree, a main, and a dessert and a drink for like 10 euros, 12 euros. You have package deals like that usually give you some kind of student discount. You get 10% off at some places. There are different places. They have different offers. When you reach one of these places, just go ahead and ask the waiter or waitress or the front of house, whoever's there, do you have a student discount? They'll say yes or no. And if they do, then you have to show your student card. You can get your student discount. So
I recently saw that in Carrefour, in Haverlist, you can, in the grocery store, everything you buy, you get a 7% student discount. So there is a lot of these things. If you are under 25, I am not, so I am not eligible for that in the Carrefour one. But there are a lot of those things. Last question: what's the party scene like in Leuven? And this will be addressed a lot in the next webinar, which I highly recommend all of you to attend. Which is tentatively on August 3rd, but we will send you a link with the proper details about that, where we will cover post-arrival, how your life would look like when you come to Belgium, where we'll have 2 speakers, one an Indian who lived in Belgium for more than 10-15 years, and then also a non-Indian to share their experience of how it is to live in Belgium. But quickly, maybe Aaron can conclude with this question, and then.
The party scene is very nice here in Leuven. Okay, we have an entire street. I'm pretty sure you guys would have probably looked it up. It's called Oude Markt, which means Old Market. It's an entire street full of bars. You can go there pretty much any day of the week, and you can buy a drink for fairly cheap. And parties are there every week. And International Week, I think this year, because this is the 600th year of KUL, they're having a fairly large party for this year's incoming students. So there is a very active party scene. And if you're an Erasmus Mundus student, ESN Leuven has their own separate set of parties that are there pretty much every month. So follow ESN Leuven's page, you can see all the stuff that's happening. It's fairly active. Please do go ahead and have a lot of fun, but be safe. Don't make irresponsible decisions.
Yep. And as ISAL, we also organizes some Bollywood nights,
Yep.
and we also have some, but yeah, it's crazy out here.
We have a few events every year.
Yeah.
So yep, we'll give you those dates as well soon.
Yep.
And we have meet and greet once you guys are here in Belgium. So we have a lot of things planned for you guys as well. So if you want an Indian theme party, we do that as well.
Yep.
All the other places, they have regular parties. You can go there quite often. Yeah, ESN, I'll just elaborate a little bit about ESN. ESN is the Erasmus Student Network in Leuven. It's another student association. They organize parties, they have guides, they have their own buy and sell as well. There's like a whole community on WhatsApp. Once you come here, you'll meet them at the orientation. They'll have a stall as well. You can go there and meet them and register with them, and they'll be able to help you out with a lot of stuff. They organize a lot of the parties that I've been to in the last year. So ESN is quite a lot of fun and quite budget friendly. So if you think that going out and drinking on your own is too expensive, ESN organizes parties at a little cheaper. Right?
Well,
And finally,
yeah.
Yep, that's about it. So follow our socials. We're there on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. You guys are probably already a part of the community. And YouTube, we'll be uploading this recording on YouTube, hopefully in like the next couple of days. So if you missed it or if you're unable to join, yeah. If you want specifically, I can share these slides. I'll probably add a little more text and I can share this slide deck real quick. But yeah, follow our socials and we'll see you guys soon at the next webinar.
I wish to thank Aaron and Sutaf. Thanks a lot for hosting and for sharing their experience here. And hope to see you all again on August 3rd for the second part of this webinar, where we will join with 2 other speakers who are more experienced living here in Belgium. Till then, thank you. And